Welcome to my February 2023 update on the latest current account news and offers. Lots to pack into this. I'm going to try and race through them relatively quickly. If you do want more details on many of these, I have got an accompanying article over on the blog. So head over to becleveryourcash.com to find out more about these. Let's start off talking about bank switching deals, because there are a number of new ones that have launched over the last few weeks. 3 of these new ones I've done separate videos on, so you can watch those for more information about how to get that cash and maybe some other little hacks and tricks that I've got for you to increase the reward you get. The first one, the easiest one of these, is a £200 switching offer from Santander. This one is available on the Select account and on the Everyday account and on the Edge account and on the 123 account. They're the 4 main ones you can look at. Personally, look at the Edge or the 123 if you don't already earn cash back on your bills, or if you've got a 123 Lite account or one of those accounts already, go for the Everyday account, which is their kind of basic free one. Again, more details in that separate video. Next up, we have £200 from Lloyds. This one is only for their packaged accounts, so ones that come with additional insurance, and they also come with a fee on top of that, either £10 a month or £21 a month. However, as I explained in the separate video on this offer, there is a way where you can reduce how much you pay to practically nothing, maybe nothing at all, at most £10. So you're still looking at a nice amount of profit from that account. The other one that's got a separate video is the TSB switching offer. That one's 125 quid for the switch, another 75 quid if you stick around. And once more, as I explained in the video, there are some ways to get some extra cash. This one that is much more involved, there's more you have to do. So really, you might be looking at just getting that initial 125 quid, maybe some money in advance, a 30 quid maybe bonus on top via a cashback site. But the other bits, you might feel are too much effort. But again, worth looking at that separate video if you are eligible, if you haven't had a switching offer from TSB since last October. The other one that's new, I haven't got a separate video on, but I did talk about it in a previous update. They've just brought this back in the same way, is a refer a friend scheme from the cooperative bank. Effectively, if you open up a cooperative bank account, you switch to it from a different bank, still need to switch from a different bank as with the others, and also then fill in a form with the details of an existing co-op bank customer who in theory has referred you. You will then get £125 for that switch. They'll also get 125 quid. So if you're an existing co-op bank customer, then you might want to get some mates to sign up as well, so you both win here. There has also been another change to the other bank switching offer that's been running for quite a while now from First Direct. I may well do a whole separate video on this at a later date, but let's quickly give you the headline of the change here. Up until just a few weeks ago, one of the key criteria to get this account was that you could not have had an HSBC account since the 1st of January 2019. If you had, it ruled you out of this switching offer. Obviously, there were other conditions, such as you can never have had a First Direct account in the past and some other money to put in. But the important thing here is if you thought, well, I can't get this because I had an HSBC account in, I don't know, the summer of 2019, that date has moved forward a year. Forward a year? It's moved on a year, right? So now it's the 1st of January 2020. So if you've ever had an HSBC account, but you closed it prior to the 31st of December 2019, and you meet the other criteria for the First Direct offer, then you might be able to get that £175 switching deal from them. That's the kind of the most of the actual new switching deals out there. If any more come along, I wouldn't be surprised if at some point this month we hear something from HSBC, maybe NatWest or RBS, and potentially also something from Halifax, which often follow on when Lloyds finishes. Maybe they cross over a little bit. One of those comes. I will let you know here on the channel and over at becleverwithyourcash.com/banks. Now, talking about making money from your bank, I've got a couple of a deal to tell you about. Again, all details of this over on the blog. So you want to click through to the article to read more about this. But effectively, this is to get paid up to 50 quid for sharing your bank data with the pollster firm YouGov. Obviously, they've been in the news recently, slightly controversial around their founder when he was Chancellor not paying his fair share of tax on this business. But let's put that aside. Let's just focus on this deal that you can get. Effectively, like you would with any budgeting app or aggregator app, you share via open banking your current account or your credit card or your savings account details with YouGov. And the interface isn't very good, so you're not really going to want to use it as an analysis for yourself. But for every current account that you add, you'll get 500 points. 500 points is worth £5. For every credit card, 500 points, worth £5. For a savings account, 100 points, worth £1. You can add these accounts in, link to them, and after a couple of days, those points balance for each account that you add will be added to your overall YouGov account. When you hit 50 quid, you can cash that out to your bank or get a gift voucher for supermarkets and places like that. Now, you might think, oh, I haven't got enough accounts to get, 10 accounts to get like 10 lots of 500 to get that 50 quid balance. Well, there are other ways you can top this up. You can wait 3 months because you have to renew the connection every 3 months. Do that, you'll get that money again. Haven't tested that myself, obviously, because I only signed up to it last month. So it should work. It should be fine. Other people have done that and they can do it again. And there are also other surveys you can do on the YouGov website to get you to 50 so you can cash it out. There also is, having a look from my own experience and also from what you guys have been telling me over on the Facebook community, that sometimes you haven't got the points for accounts you've connected. And it looks like potentially it might be that if you don't regularly use some of those accounts, then they don't give you the points. So if you're someone like me with a massive number of accounts, current accounts and a number of credit cards, you might not be able to get all those points straight away. However, I got about £75 worth of points. So I've taken 50 quid out and I'm going to wait, and reactivate some of those connections in probably about 2 months' time now, and hopefully get even more and cash out more money. Talking of cashing out money from your bank, there are a lot of rumors spreading around right now about what Chase are going to be doing, because if you're one of those early adopters, you opened it up prior to the end of February of last year, then your cashback, that first year of cashback, which was extended for many people, will be coming to an end on the 28th of February. Obviously, if you opened it after that, at any point since last February, then you might have longer to go. But there are all sorts of rumors going around about what will happen. Will they just cancel it? Will they do something new? One thing that happened just the other week was Chase emailed customers about a change in the terms and conditions to the app, which would allow them to add interest to any accounts that don't currently offer interest. So there could be something they might do there. Really don't know, just pure speculation on my part. Incidentally, they are now paying 3% interest, which is not top of the table for savings, but it's very, very near. So if you've got money there, there's probably no point moving it out to a different account if you're happy with keeping it in there. Another rumor that went around, someone shared a screen grab in my Facebook group from Chase's secret consumer panel. They shouldn't have shared this. They won't get the terms and conditions of them doing that, but they should post this picture where they kind of suggested that one thing, the idea they were trying out was the cashback would continue if you met certain criteria. Again, all speculation right now, but I think it's looking promising that hopefully there will be something for Chase customers going on. If I hear anything at all, if anything is announced, I will obviously let you know here on the channel and over on the blog. Now, some bad news, sadly, now with lots of banks. I told you there was lots to get through this month. There are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of bank branches that have been announced to close. NatWest have done this, Barclays have done this, TSB have done this, Lloyds have done this, Halifax have done this. I think there's also a few other Santander ones that were announced last year as well. You're looking at almost 200 slates to go in the next sort of 3 or 4 months. I wouldn't be surprised if even more announced later in the year. Now, I won't go into detail now about all the different ones here. Again, head over to the blog. I've got a list of all the NatWest, Barclays, Halifax and Lloyds branches that are closing. So you'll be able to check out which one is going. Is your local one going? And then some ideas of things that you can do if you are affected, if you want to keep a branch open. Again, I won't go into too much detail now because I probably should do a whole video about what you should do if your bank is closing and alternatives available to you, but it's worth letting you know. That's bad news. Let's come back to some good news here. This is Starling. This actually happened in December, but I didn't put it in my roundup last month because that was a big look at all the best accounts rather than one of these news updates. But this is from Starling. They have introduced virtual cards to their Spaces. Spaces, I'm sure you know if you have a Starling account, are kind of separate sort of sub-accounts you connect where you can transfer money from your main account into these separate accounts and use them generally for budgeting and for saving or maybe for paying bills. Well, now you can have virtual cards. A virtual card is exactly what it sounds like. You don't have a physical card, you have a virtual card. To use it, you can add it to your mobile wallet. So that means you can pay, as long as you can use your phone contactlessly to pay, you can spend from those accounts. Or you can obviously just type the numbers in online when you're spending. Couple of benefits to this. One of them is maybe around security. If you're not sure about the website you're shopping at, then you could just use this virtual card. And if for some reason it was compromised, then you just cancel that card and they don't access any more money and you don't have to wait for a new card to come along. You just set up a new virtual card. Or it's great for budgeting. Let's say you've got a space that is for supermarket shopping, a space that you've set up how much money you can afford for a night out. You can set up different cards, up to 5 different cards, virtual cards, and then you can just pay with them as you go, not dipping in and out of different bits. You know exactly how much money you've got left for each of those areas. Great to see this free offering from Starling. Other places do make this available, but generally you're being charged for this, the likes of Revolut and Monzo. If you want the full functionality, you're generally looking at a kind of a larger fee. It was free with Starling, which I think is great. a couple of bank switching things to share with you here, actually. Just a few tips for you. A couple of you got in touch with me to say that you'd been hard credit checked when applying for a Monzo account. Now, I tell you guys that Monzo is not a hard credit check when you apply for it. It's a soft credit check, which is great. One, if you want to try the app out, it's a good app. It's not one of my top ones anymore, but it's still a good app. Or it might be a decent dummy account, one that you set up that you use just for switching. Now, a couple of people said it wasn't a soft check. I don't understand why. I talked to them a little bit more and I got in touch with Monzo to try and get to the bottom of this. Has this changed? Is it no longer a soft check? Is it one that no longer has an impact on your credit report? And I think what has happened here is those people, when they applied, they accidentally also applied for an overdraft. Now, when you do apply for an overdraft with Monzo, same with Starling, same with other banks, if you apply for an overdraft, you will have a hard credit check on your credit report. But they accidentally did this. Now, they might have felt that it was hard for them to not apply for one. They couldn't see how they could not do that. Monzo have told me again, I've already got an account, so it's hard for me to go through that application process again because, well, I can't do it. They said it should be very clear on the top left of the screen when the overdraft section is there that you can cancel that part of the process. So if at any point you're going through a Monzo application and it's saying, here's your overdraft, this is what you'll get if you do this, then you will be subject to a hard check if you actually say, yes, I want this overdraft to go through. So try to avoid that if you do not want a hard search on your credit report. Switching deals, we are sticking with that as well. And again, this is something that applies for some people with a number of dummy accounts, but Monzo accounts as well, where they've set this up with the express purpose, as I say, of using it for one of these new switching deals. And they've, particularly with Monzo, soft credit check in theory. As we say, it should be. It absolutely is a soft credit check unless you apply for an overdraft. Wait for the card to come through relatively fast. In theory, you can then switch away. And you often need, when you switch, the long debit card number as part of the confirmation of your account. But people were finding at the start of this year that they weren't able to, the switching accounts didn't recognize these debit cards that were expiring in 5 years' time, in January 2028. Now, I'm not quite sure what was going on there, whether this was a hangover from the new year, but effectively this meant that they couldn't go through with that switch at that time because it said, well, this debit card doesn't exist because the systems, I guess, hadn't already registered for the new year. I think by the sound of things, I've not seen any more comments on this recently. I think that has sorted itself out, that those cards will be accepted. But my moral of the story here is the lesson to take away is if you do want to have a dummy account, whoever that's with, whether it's a Monzo account or an extra account on a bank you've already got, or maybe it's an account you think, I'm just going to open this one up, get the freebie that comes with it, not there are many of those, and then use that to switch at a later date. When the deal comes along, don't wait. Don't wait to open that account when you then want to do a switching deal. Get it now. Get it sorted. Ensure that there are no requirements for regular money to go into that account. In the short term, if there are, make sure you're meeting them, but just get that account now. When a switching deal comes along you want to use it for, then that's not going to be a problem, hopefully, in terms of that debit card. And last one here on a quick update on switching. This is around direct debits. I'm sure many of you have watched my video about extra direct debits. Fast direct debits you can set up in a really short amount of time to get them active on an account before you then use them as part of a switching bonus criteria. And maybe also they're quite cheap. They're not going anywhere. It's money just from your own money to your other money elsewhere, and you can get it back. So it's not costing you anything either. Now, one of the direct debits that I mentioned in that video is Charity Bank. They got in touch with me to say that they've seen a huge number of people opening up savings accounts for this purpose, often multiple accounts with multiple direct debits, and then closing them. And this was costing them, is still costing them a huge amount of money, a huge amount of costly in time and also in resources. And potentially there was a danger that if people continue to do this, they might have to withdraw those products from the market. Now, as you can suggest from the name, the Charity Bank, they are here mainly set up to support charities. So I've removed the reference to these direct debits from my article, but you can't change an existing YouTube video. So what I'm going to suggest to you is please don't use the Charity Bank for direct debits for switching deals. Look at some of the other alternatives out there. Again, many, many more listed in that video, many, many more in the article on the blog that goes through this, which will not have that same detrimental effect on essentially some people trying to do good. There are bigger boys out there who have got enough money to soak this up. So please, if you've already got some as well that you've set up that you don't really need them, you're not using them, maybe again also considering next time a switching deal comes along, you look at something different instead. A few more things to share with you, not too much. This is one around Club Lloyds. Now, Club Lloyds accounts, big fan of them. They have a requirement every single month, though, to avoid the £3 monthly fee, a requirement of £1,500 to be paid into that account. Doesn't have to be in one go. You can put money in, money out, and that's fine. And if that would make you avoid the fee, the reason I like this account, I won't go into a huge amount of detail, but the reason I like it, it's free cinema tickets, free movie rentals, free magazine subscription, one of those. Relatively easy to get. However, from the 1st of April, that requirement is going up to £2,000 a month. Now, even if you think, well, I don't have £2,000 a month, £1,500 is all I've got, that's fine, because you can take that £1,500 you transfer in already, take 500 quid of that, transfer it to a different account and transfer it back in. It doesn't have to be, still doesn't have to be in one go. It just means the total that has to enter that account in a calendar month is £2,000. That is from the 1st of April. So just make sure you do this. I mean, maybe if you think you might be forgetful, obviously put a note to do it nearer the time, or just change your standing orders now so you don't forget later on. Because obviously, as soon as you start getting hit with that charge, it's making the freebie rather redundant. What else is going on? Oh, this is some good news, okay? One of my big frustrations with Nationwide's app is how often you need to use the card reader. And practicality, that means that you either have to have a card reader and the card itself with you when you're out and about, or you have to wait and do all your financial stuff when you're at home. When so many other apps don't require this, it's a real kind of antiquated system. The good news is, in the most recent update to the app, the note said, "We're improving the way you send money and set up payments. You'll notice you'll start to need your card reader less going forward." So it's not necessarily resounding, you can chuck it away, but certainly sounds like they are moving towards the app then catching up with some of the other apps out there from other banks. If that happens, that's going to be amazing news, because I really like Nationwide for their customer service. I really like them for their ethics compared to many of the banks out there. If they can get their app up to speed, comparative release with the big guys like Barclays and Halifax, who have good banks, good apps, then that's going to be make them, I think, in my view, a contender again. So I'll keep you updated on that if we get any more news. A couple tiny things to tell you about now, just worth knowing about. Monese has added a 0.3% transfer fee for using for topping up your account via a debit card. Now, some of you may well be using the free Monese account or have been using this way to take advantage of the Halifax Rewards hack. I shared this in a previous video, how you can do this on not just one, but two, but three different Halifax Reward accounts. The requirement to spend £500 on your debit card every month. If you did that to Monese, you're not really spending the money. You can take it back to you. So it means you can also get cash back from the likes of Chase or Amex elsewhere. But obviously now with this new charge, it means using Monese is not a good option. So you want to look at one of those alternatives. Again, I've listed many of those in the video looking at a Halifax Reward hack. So find those alternatives there. Last one to tell you about very quickly. Halifax has introduced a feature called Travel Ready. This will let you spend fee-free abroad and take money out abroad. No charges at all. Fantastic, right? That's great. Catching up with the likes of Chase and Starling and Monzo. Sadly, they will charge you £7 a week for this. So do not get this. If you're a Halifax customer and you like Halifax, you use it all the time, fantastic. But do not add Travel Ready. Just get a different card. One of those banks I just mentioned. I've got a whole video looking at the best cards to use overseas, and do that instead. Whew, phew. Okay, lots there. As I promised, I'll be back with any more switching news in the next few weeks and another update in a month's time. And make sure you hit subscribe so you don't miss any of those. My name is Andy Webb. Please do hit like on that button and watch these videos right here for more ways to help you with your bank.